Welcome to Let's Talk Language, the podcast where we explore communication in our daily lives.
We are Marisol, Karime, and Carolina.
Today we'll talk about Greece cooperative principles and his four conversational maxims.
Exactly. Paul Grice was a philosopher of language that proposed that for a conversation to be effective, speakers follow a cooperative principle, which is a set of rules divided into his four key maxims, which are quantity, quality, relation, and manner.
But what exactly is the cooperative principle? Essentially, it's the idea that people naturally work together in conversations to make it meaningful and productive. When we communicate, we assume that others will provide the right amount of information, be truthful, stay relevant, and speak clearly.
And not only do we follow these rules, but we also break them without realizing it. Today we'll explore how this happens in everyday communication. Let's start with the maxim of quantity. This is about giving just the right amount of information, not too much, but not too little.
For example, a violation of this maxim could happen when you ask someone for the time and they respond, "Well, the living room clock says it's 10 past 3. The kitchen clock says it's 3:12, but my phone says it is 3:11.
Haha, too much information. But the opposite also happens. If you ask where the bathroom is and someone just says there without pointing or anything, that's too little information.
Okay, so now we have the second maxim, which is quality. This means providing true information with evidence.
Right? For example, imagine someone asks, "Where is Laura?" and your answer is, "On Mars." We immediately know that it is a false statement, and while it might be a funny joke between friends, it breaks cooperation if the person who's asking genuinely needs to know where is Laura.
Next, we have the maxim of relation, which says we should be relevant.
Imagine in a meeting someone asks, "Who has the sales report?" and you reply, "I love the coffee in this office." That has nothing to do with the question.
Totally. We sometimes tend to change the subject on purpose, but in formal settings, ignoring this maxim can be a huge problem.
And finally, the maxim of manner. This means being clear and avoiding ambiguity.
An example is when someone asks, "How do I get to your house?" and you say, "Go where the store that closed 2 years ago used to be, turn where the croc tree is, and walk until you hear my neighbor's dog barking."
That answer ends up being super confusing for the other person. Remember that clarity is key in communication.
As we have seen, Rice maxims help make communication efficient.
But we also break them all the time, sometimes for humor or sometimes by accident.
What matters is that it is essential for us to be aware how to communicate in our everyday lives in order to avoid misunderstandings.
Thanks for joining us on Let's Talk Language. See you in the next episode.